Hey everybody, this is some guy named Rob, and I'm here with your predictions for Fastlane 2018. Fastlane, of course, being the last pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania. And looking at the card, I think that the road to WrestleMania needs a road crew out there to kind of patch the potholes and repave everything because it's not looking pretty. Driving conditions on the road to WrestleMania are looking pretty rough right about now. But before I begin with my predictions, just want to recap so far of the two pay per views that we've had the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. Of the 12 matches that have taken place, I've successfully predicted 10 of them, with the only two exceptions being the tag title matches for both Raw and SmackDown at the Royal Rumble. So this match features a lot of multi-man, multi-women matches, including two tag matches. Let's see if I can overcome sort of my tag team stigma. I don't know what you would call it, but hopefully my luck changes. And to be honest, this is one of those pay-per-views where I hope I'm kind of wrong in certain aspects because there's a lot of predictability going on here. And what I'd really like to see to generate a little bit more interest going into WrestleMania is to maybe subvert some expectations and see, pull something creative out of their, have the WWE pull something creative out of their hat and make me sit up and go, "Oh, wow, I wasn't really expecting that. I wonder what they're going to do with this. Is this going to tie into something at WrestleMania?" Because so far feeling kind of underwhelmed and feeling more and more underwhelmed as the weeks toward WrestleMania count down. But enough of my bitching and complaining. Let's get to the show. In no particular order, we're going to start off with Becky Lynch and Naomi taking on Natalya and Carmella in a match that was thrown together at the last second in a backstage promo, following a mostly forgettable match between Becky Lynch and Carmella. Um, don't know what the point of this match is. There are no stakes. There's nothing on the line. There's no real WrestleMania implications that I can see or feel coming. It just seems to be they had a lot of women on the roster that weren't doing anything. They needed an extra women's match. They made it a tag team to give as many women something to do as possible. That's how this match feels. I don't particularly care for it. It doesn't really matter who wins. I'm going to go with a coin flip and say that Becky Lynch and Naomi win just because Natalya and Carmella aren't really on the same page. I don't know if they've ever really worked together, but Becky Lynch and Naomi, along with Charlotte, they kind of have their own thing going. They've worked together in tag matches before, and I'm going to go with the experience over, at least a tag team experience versus the thrown together team of Natalya and Carmella. Also, I'd like to think that they're going to have Natalya and Carmella lose to um, kind of put the seed of doubt that maybe Carmella can't successfully cash in the Money in the Bank contract, which may lead to her trying either later in the pay per view or at some point before WrestleMania or at WrestleMania itself. Next up, we have Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Rusev in another match that was kind of thrown together at the last second in the hopes of boosting ticket sales or pay per view buys or perhaps subscriptions to the WWE network. And by the way, as speaking as someone who does not currently subscribe to the WWE network, I'll let you in on a secret. This match isn't going to do it. But anyway, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev. Um, I This has slightly more build up to it, or at least it comes from somewhere more so than the last match. At least Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev kind of got into it for about 14 seconds a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown when Rusev kind of laid out Nakamura mid match with a Machka kick. It's still pretty flimsy as far as motivations go, but at least there is some form of motivation to be found. Um, I don't think that they're going to have Rusev go over the 2018 Royal Rumble winner. Call it a crazy hunch. What I do think will happen is Rusev will lose the match. Maybe there'll be a little bit of an altercation between him and Aiden English afterward to kind of set up a feud between Rusev and English to kind of give Rusev his own legitimate singles push where he's kind of on his own. Um, because I think he really does. He can stand alone. He doesn't need Lana. He doesn't need Aiden English. He is clearly over with the fans. And I don't know why he's not anywhere near the main event scene. He's got an amazing look. He's just this enormous, muscular, brutish, you know, he's a mountain of muscle. He's also a good-looking guy, very charismatic, and I think as Lee put it in his SmackDown Live review video, it doesn't matter if he's trying to be serious or not. He can be very comedic and very charismatic. These are the types of things that generally create WWE megastars versus superstars. So why he's not closer to the main event picture remains a little bit of a mystery to me. Not that I want to see him beat Nakamura, and not that I'm taking anything away from Nakamura. He definitely belongs in the main event scene. But I'm hoping that in the defeat they don't bury Rusev. We don't need another Randy Orton moment where it's like a 10-second match because that's just complete bullshit. Next up, we finally start to get into matches with WrestleMania implications as the Usos defend their SmackDown Tag Team titles against the New Day. I really wish this past week's SmackDown Live had more of these two teams face to face rather than just a video package recap of what's already happened, because that confrontation from 2 weeks ago was absolutely amazing. Those promos were great. The Usos have actually they've been impressing me as far as their promos go. I'm still not sold on their in-ring work. They rely way too much on super kicks and splashes. When 60% of your offense is a super kick, you're going to bore me after about 2.5 minutes. But the fact that they were able to get under the skin of the New Day to the point where Big E completely lost his cool and got right in the faces of the Usos and cut a really impassioned promo, I want to see more of that. This is the type of stuff that really, really gets me going as a fan because you know it's going to lead into a really good match. These two teams can deliver in the ring, they can deliver on the mic, and I'm hoping that I'm going to break my tag team jinx here. I do think the Usos are going to retain. I don't think it's going to be a clean win by any stretch of the imagination because you have two unresolved sort of plot threads going on. Go figure, WWE would leave things hanging. You have I almost said the Basham brothers. I always do this. Uh, you have the Bludgeon brothers who have been kind of getting into the the tail end of promos for both the New Day and the Usos, especially the Usos. You also have the little unresolved business of what happened with Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, where a phantom tag that was missed by the ref allowed the New Day to beat Benjamin and Gable to have the right to face the Usos at Fastlane. So there's that kind of going on as well. So this is not going to be a clean match. I do predict the Usos to retain, but it's going to set up something bigger at WrestleMania because they're going to need to include a few. It's probably going to be at least a triple threat tag match for the titles, if not a fatal four way, but it's definitely going to set that up. Next up, we have United States champion Bobby Roode defending his championship versus Randy Orton. The storyline being that Randy Orton has never won the U.S. title. It's the only title he's never held in the WWE. Bobby Roode, of course, the charismatic champion, taking on all comers and respects Orton, but thinks that he can beat him. And am I the only one who finds it extremely odd that in this feud between Randy Orton and Bobby Roode, that the guy who comes out on top all the time is Jinder Mahal? Like all the time. This has been like the past month or so. I find it weird, especially since he's not involved in the match. He will be involved in the match. I don't see that being a problem whatsoever. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if they set this up to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Um, this one, I think Bobby Roode retains. I don't see them changing the title here. Maybe we'll see an Orton heel turn, but that's going to be a little bit strange because you got Jinder Mahal, who's already a heel. This is just a confused mess, and to be honest with you, it's this is why I'm just I don't know if I'm losing interest in WrestleMania or if it's I'm just losing interest in Fastlane or SmackDown or whatever. But man, the writing has just taken a nosedive off a cliff. It's been really, really hard to follow the bouncing ball as of late. But I'll still go with Bobby Roode retaining and the end of the match, maybe a post match beatdown or something. There's going to be something setting up a WrestleMania match between the three of them and maybe somebody else. Who knows? Maybe they'll throw Rusev in there as well. This brings us to what I would imagine would be the co-main event with Charlotte defending her WWE SmackDown Women's title against Ruby Riott. And man, does this feud scream of time waster. This is a stopgap feud to allow Charlotte to have something to do before WrestleMania when she's going to face her real opponent. Um, because it can't just be coincidence that they're facing off, three members of the Riot Squad with 1 week of break, and there just happen to be sort of 4 weeks or so going. Yeah, it's this is just messy. I don't like this feud at all. I don't really I don't mind Ruby Riott, and I'm okay with the Riot Squad as a concept. I just don't think it's their time right now. And to be honest, I haven't seen, you haven't seen enough out of Ruby Riott to establish her to go, yeah, this woman really does deserve to have a legit shot at being the WWE Women's Champion on SmackDown. Yeah, this is just thrown out of nowhere. It was something to give Charlotte something to do so that way she could actually find out who she's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. With everything going on Raw right now, it's looking like they're going to have Nia Jax go face. It wouldn't surprise me to see this go down. Charlotte beats Ruby Riott. Um, you get the Riot Squad gets a little bit involved. Charlotte kind of holds her own, fends off the rest of the Riot Squad, and just when Charlotte is standing tall, lights go out, and Asuka's music hits. Maybe you get just a shot of the mask. And that gives you something to talk about going into Monday Night Raw because then you can have Alexa Bliss talking about how she scared Asuka off, how Asuka was too cowardly to face her. That could bring out Nia Jax, who could, give something of an excuse me promo, like I was the one who was beating the crap out of her week in, week out to try and soften her up for you. I don't think she was running from you. What the hell makes you think you're so good? And then you can get sort of a little thing with Alexa Bliss back and forth about how Jax kept failing over and over again, how she's never been good enough, and really work on that emotion that they've been building since last week on Monday Night Raw with Nia Jax. You could really get some good drama out of this, and you can turn this into a barn burner of a WrestleMania match between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Believe it or not, this could be an incredible match, even if Nia is a little rough around the edges. Especially because you have the Mickey James factor. She's a veteran. She can put some spot, she can do some spots to get Nia over, including having a match that night on Raw. And meanwhile, on SmackDown, you can cut some amazing promos with Charlotte kind of calling Asuka out. Um, and you can go from there. There's a lot to work with because Asuka and Charlotte, obviously, two incredible workers who can put on an absolute amazing match between the two of them. So I would like to see something like that. Will they actually pull the trigger on it? That's really the that's really to me the most interesting thing about this particular pay-per-view. And it's odd that in the last like 3 or 4 weeks, the most interesting stuff for me as a fan has been what's been going on in the women's division. The men's division stuff is a complete mess. I I don't it's not that I can't follow it. I can follow exactly what they want to do. I just don't care because they're not setting anything up in a way that compels me to want to watch it because you can see exactly where everything is going. And that really kind of bugs me. I don't like things to be quite that predictable. But as this is a predictions video, I'm going to predict Charlotte retains, and let's see if they pull the trigger on Asuka showing up and setting up WrestleMania. Finally, this brings us to the ever growing six-pack challenge where AJ Styles will defend the WWE title versus John Cena, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the popcorn guy, and some random dude from the third row. Yeah, this has gotten out of hand. What started as a really cool concept of a triple threat match to try and pit Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against each other has turned into an absolute nightmare of logistics where you just are getting, hey, let's add this guy. Oh, there doesn't seem to be enough fan interest. Well, let's add this guy. Oh, we still don't seem to have enough fans on board. We're not selling as many tickets as we thought we would. Hey, let's pull out the John Cena card. We're that desperate now. We are so desperate that we are breaking out John Cena. Um, I I don't care about this match at all. This to me just really bugs me. It bugs me that it has to happen this way because you could have put AJ Styles over for WrestleMania in a much better way. If I'm looking at the go home show, AJ Styles got in very little offense in that fatal five-way match, but played a lot of defense breaking up pins. And usually, when you see someone, a champ being made to look not quite as strong as they should be on the go home show, they're usually going to come out looking like fire. They're going to come out like fire on the pay per view. We saw it with Roman Reigns before Elimination Chamber. He was the very first man that was eliminated in the gauntlet match. He got pinned clean. It was not even, he was made to look like a chump basically, came out winning the Elimination Chamber. AJ Styles kind of got caught, looking not so great as champion. I'm going to predict he's going to retain to finally set up him and Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania, which is the match that all the fans want. Nobody wants to see John Cena involved. Nobody cares if he breaks the record. At this point, I don't even care if he makes the pay per view or gets hit by a bus. Like, I am so sick of John Cena and his never evolving character. This by the way is not character evolution. This is just John Cena doing, I'm doing it for the fans sort of thing. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it for the fans and break the record. I don't care. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the Fastlane predictions. We'll see come Monday morning how well I did, and we'll see you in the next video.